Some crimes aren't about evading the law, they're about daring someone to stop you. Imagine a man who leaves behind a trail of evidence, drops clues, and taunts authorities, yet moves with a chilling calm, as if every step is part of a twisted game. This is not fiction. This is a real case that shakes the boundaries of criminal psychology, exposing a mind that wants the world to see its darkness, yet refuses to admit weakness. What drives a person to commit crime only to beg for capture? And what can this reveal about the fragility of human morality, control, and obsession? Disclaimer: content is for awareness and educational purposes only. Viewer discretion advised. In the summer of 2019, in the industrial city of Birmingham, UK, authorities faced a case unlike any other. James Whitaker, 42, a seemingly ordinary logistics manager, became infamous not for his cunning in hiding crimes, but for deliberately leaving his tracks exposed. From burglaries to minor assaults, escalating to violent attacks, Whitaker's trail was a jigsaw of intentional clues. The stakes were enormous. Victims traumatized, communities paralyzed with fear, and law enforcement grappling with a criminal who played by his own rules. Whitaker's neighbors described a man who was polite, even helpful, someone who mowed the lawn, greeted people with a smile, and attended local football matches. Yet behind the facade of normalcy, there was a simmering compulsion that could not be contained. Investigators would later uncover cryptic messages, video recordings of crime scenes, and deliberate mistakes designed to draw attention. How could someone manipulate both fear and law enforcement in such a way while maintaining the guise of an ordinary life? And what does it tell us about the psychology of criminals who crave recognition rather than anonymity? Authorities faced a puzzle. Each crime scene contained intentional signatures, a misplaced object, an open window, a clue left in plain sight. Psychologists would later identify this as a form of compulsive exhibitionism of crime, a rare but chilling behavioral trait where perpetrators derive satisfaction not merely from committing offenses, but from being noticed. Could Whitaker's behavior be a cry for help, a psychological game, or an audacious challenge to society itself? Local media and online forums exploded with speculation. Is he taunting the police? Asked one headline. The criminal who wants to be caught, said another. But beneath the sensationalism lay a disturbing reality. The line between thrill-seeking, psychological compulsion, and outright malice is perilously thin. How far can one push the boundaries of law and morality before consequences catch up? And more importantly, can anyone predict when this compulsion will escalate to life-threatening violence? As the investigation unfolded, authorities discovered that Whitaker's apparent mistakes were anything but. They formed part of a calculated escalation designed to manipulate, intimidate, and psychologically control the narrative around his crimes. Witnesses reported feeling both fear and fascination, an eerie understanding that this man was playing a dangerous game, and everyone around him was part of it, willingly or not. If this story has gripped you so far, comment, caught or not. Share this story with everyone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to Crime Chronicles TVc and turn on the notification bell. How much of criminal behavior is driven by obsession, and how much by a desire to be recognized? Could someone you see every day be hiding a mind capable of orchestrating chaos while challenging you to stop them? The deeper investigators dug, the more layers of Whitaker's psychology were revealed, exposing that some criminals do not fear capture, they crave it. Authorities soon realized that James Whitaker's pattern of crimes was not random. It was a carefully orchestrated escalation. Small thefts, petty vandalism, and minor assaults had grown into brazen acts that left clues for police to follow. Investigators described it as a psychological chess game, where Whitaker made each move to provoke a reaction, measure the response, and push the boundaries further. Every step he took, every crime scene he left, was part of an invisible script designed to control the narrative. But what motivates someone to invite capture, to tempt law enforcement with the thrill of the hunt? Is it arrogance, obsession, or something even more disturbing? Neighbors who had once described Whitaker as ordinary began to recall unsettling details. The way he lingered too long on conversations, the subtle observations of people's routines, the almost imperceptible smirk when discussing security protocols. Behavioral psychologists note that these traits often hint at a compulsive need for dominance, a desire to manipulate both perception and reality. In Whitaker's case, the ordinary veneer masked an extraordinary fixation with power, attention, and control. How many of us might dismiss subtle, odd behaviors in those around us, never realizing they could signal deeper disturbances? The police discovered Whitaker's digital footprint was as elaborate as his physical one. Encrypted messages, staged social media posts, and video recordings indicated a man fascinated with the mechanics of fear and observation. Forensic experts highlighted that such planning demonstrates an unusual combination of intelligence and moral detachment. This is not the impulsive criminal, but one who meticulously orchestrates both crime and reaction. How often do we underestimate the capability of ordinary people to engage in extraordinary criminality, masked by charm and normalcy? Victims' testimonies revealed a psychological toll far beyond the physical. The fear of encountering Whitaker, knowing he was deliberately leaving trails for authorities, created a pervasive sense of vulnerability. Experts explain that this is a hallmark of criminals who seek recognition. They don't just commit offenses, they assert psychological dominance over those around them. Could Whitaker's actions be viewed as a dark commentary on human desire for attention, or are they purely the manifestations of an unbalanced mind seeking validation? As the investigation intensified, law enforcement began to realize that Whitaker's clues were not only designed to be found, they were meant to create stories, discussions, and public fascination. His crimes became a spectacle, a twisted performance designed to ensure that everyone knew of his actions. Yet beneath the drama, the chilling reality remained. A man who, by all appearances, was ordinary, had the audacity and cunning to manipulate entire communities and law enforcement alike. If this story has gripped you so far, comment "The Hunt," share this story with anyone who needs to witness it, subscribe to Crime Chronicles TVc, and turn on the notification bell. How far would someone go to ensure they were caught, and what drives the audacity to leave one's own trail? Could Whitaker's psychology exist in someone you know, hiding behind a friendly face? With each layer peeled back, investigators confronted a terrifying truth. The criminal who wants to be caught is often the most dangerous of all, for they control not only the crime, but the fear it generates. Whitaker's crimes had by now become a city-wide obsession. Local media tracked every incident, authorities poured resources into every lead, and online forums buzzed with theories and speculation. Yet Whitaker seemed always one step ahead, not in hiding, but in controlling how he was perceived. Psychologists call this a form of criminal exhibitionism, where the act itself is secondary to the response it provokes. Every misstep he allowed, every clue left, was part of a deliberate performance designed to manipulate, terrorize, and assert dominance. What drives someone to transform crime into spectacle? And how much of this behavior stems from ego versus psychological compulsion? Inside Whitaker's modest flat, investigators uncovered a labyrinth of diaries, photographs, and digital notes, each documenting prior crimes in painstaking detail. These weren't mere records. They were a reflection of obsession, a ritual of control, and a method to anticipate human reactions. Each entry revealed careful thought, meticulous planning, and a chilling understanding of both human behavior and law enforcement procedures. How can someone maintain such a duality, a smiling neighbor by day, a compulsive manipulator by night? And how does the human mind rationalize the thrill of danger against the inevitability of capture? As forensic teams analyzed the digital evidence, the scale of Whitaker's psychological game became clear. He meticulously documented victim routines, police response times, and community reactions. Experts explain that this obsessive analysis is rare, indicative of a personality driven by dominance and recognition rather than mere financial or material gain. Ordinary people rarely think of crime as theater, but for Whitaker, every act was a calculated communication to the world. How many so-called ordinary individuals might harbor similar tendencies, unnoticed until circumstances allow them to escalate? Meanwhile, the victims struggled with more than fear. They faced confusion and self-doubt. Knowing that Whitaker wanted to be caught twisted reality, leaving them questioning whether reporting him would satisfy his psychological game. Forensic psychologists note that criminals who seek recognition often aim to manipulate the emotional states of those around them, extending the impact of their actions beyond the physical crime. Could society ever fully protect itself from someone who thrives on attention, control, and calculated chaos? Community tension grew as more signs of Whitaker's audacity came to light. Police discovered staged break-ins, taunting notes, and digital breadcrumbs meant to provoke headlines. Public fascination collided with fear, creating an almost cinematic narrative where real-life consequences were intertwined with psychological intrigue. The question now loomed larger. How do authorities respond to a criminal who wants to be caught, yet always manipulates the game to maintain power over fear, attention, and perception? If this story has gripped you so far, comment exposed. Share this story with those who need to see it, subscribe to Crime Chronicles TVc, and turn on the notification bell. How far would someone go to orchestrate both crime and consequence? And what uncomfortable truths about human curiosity, fear, and morality lie hidden in the shadows of seemingly ordinary neighborhoods? The city's residents were gripped by fear and fascination. Some reported feeling watched, as if Whitaker had an omniscient awareness of their routines. Neighbors who had once seen him as a mundane figure began to whisper about small oddities, a lingering glance, unusual questions about security, a casual remark about police efficiency. It became clear that Whitaker's control extended beyond his crimes. He had embedded himself into the collective consciousness of the city, manipulating fear and curiosity simultaneously. Could someone so ordinary truly engineer such pervasive psychological influence without anyone realizing? Victims shared harrowing experiences, revealing the emotional toll of being entangled in Whitaker's manipulations. The uncertainty of his next move, combined with the knowledge that he wanted to be caught, created a unique psychological torment. Authorities described this as anticipatory trauma, a form of fear generated not just by past actions, but by the knowledge of future threats designed to exploit human anxiety. How do you live in a world where the criminal's pleasure is derived from observing the emotional chaos they cause, all while remaining uncaptured? Investigators soon faced another twist. Whitaker's seemingly sloppy mistakes were, in fact, carefully calculated diversions. Clues were placed to mislead detectives, false leads were planted, and minor crimes were orchestrated to distract from his more serious acts. Each misstep was part of a sophisticated psychological strategy, forcing law enforcement to chase shadows while he orchestrated the real drama elsewhere. How many crimes go unnoticed because the perpetrator wants attention in exactly the right way, manipulating both public and authority alike? If this story has gripped you so far, comment the game, share this story with everyone who needs to witness it, subscribe to Crime Chronicles TVc, and turn on the notification bell. Could the line between obsession and criminal genius be thinner than we dare to imagine? And what does it say about the hidden layers of human behavior when ordinary people choose to step into extraordinary darkness? As investigators pieced together Whitaker's elaborate plan, the city braced for the inevitable confrontation. The moment when the criminal who wanted to be caught would finally face the consequences of his meticulously orchestrated game. The tension in Birmingham had reached a boiling point. Weeks of psychological manipulation, taunting clues, and escalating crimes had left authorities, victims, and the public on edge. Whitaker's pattern had been laid bare, a man who did not fear capture, but orchestrated it, a criminal who reveled in the anticipation of being caught. Investigators knew that confronting him would not only involve arresting a lawbreaker, but also navigating a mind that treated the police as pawns in a game of control and attention. Could someone so ordinary truly command fear, fascination, and chaos without ever revealing their true intent until the very end? When the final confrontation occurred, it was unlike anything law enforcement had expected. Whitaker did not resist. He calmly cooperated, almost theatrically, as if the capture itself were a climax to his performance. Inside his flat, authorities found extensive documentation of every crime, detailed strategies, and psychological notes analyzing victims and police alike. It became evident that his ultimate desire had been to construct a narrative where the criminal, the authorities, and society all played roles in his personal drama. How does one reconcile such calculated malice with a mundane life lived in plain sight? And what lessons are there for communities that assume evil always wears a recognizable mask? Psychologists later reflected that Whitaker's behavior represents an extreme but instructive example of criminal exhibitionism and obsession. His need to be seen, to manipulate perception, and to control the emotional responses of others demonstrates a rare yet dangerous facet of human psychology. It challenges assumptions about ordinary people and reminds us that darkness can often hide behind familiar faces, polite smiles, and neighborhood routines. Could someone in your own life be hiding compulsions or obsessions you would never suspect? The aftermath was sobering. Victims were left to grapple with trauma, the city wrestled with fear and fascination, and law enforcement documented one of the most psychologically complex cases they had ever encountered. But within the horror and chaos, there was a profound lesson. Vigilance, awareness, and understanding of human behavior are as critical as justice itself. Morality, curiosity, and psychology intertwine in ways that demand reflection, discussion, and awareness. What does this case teach us about human nature, empathy, and the thin line between fascination and fear? If this story has resonated with you, comment "Caught at Last." Share this story with all those who need to see it. Subscribe to Crime Chronicles TVc and turn on the notification bell. How much of our perception of ordinary is just a surface? And how often do we ignore the warning signs of hidden darkness? What would you have done if faced with a criminal who wanted to be caught? Would you see the game or become part of it? This case reminds us that evil is not always reckless. Sometimes it is meticulously calculated, performative, and terrifyingly human. James Whitaker's story is a chilling reminder. Appearances deceive, and the mind behind the mask can be far more dangerous than the crimes themselves. This is Crime Chronicles TVc, your daily dose of real crime stories. Stay tuned for more gripping tales of justice, betrayal, and survival that will keep you on the edge of your seat.